Next up, I think that's it for that topic. Let's go on to the next one. So this person said, I may be the laziest DM ever, but my players are having fun. I DM a group, Homebrew World, which only had 2 countries and a central trading hub. Told my players to make level 5 individuals, giving some interesting points through their lives, and to create where they came from and why they were headed to the main hub. Other than that, I basically prep for whatever random bits of the world pop into my head, and I have nothing planned for where they're going and what's going to happen, just reacting to what my players decide to do. Hell, when they roll something, I don't even have a DC in mind, just getting the results based on how well or poorly they rolled. Now I'm curious if anyone else runs the game like this, how sustainable is it? And any ideas of the things that I might want to prep or have at the ready. Video. I wrote out how do I plan stuff on OneNote, but the idea, the TLDR of this video, or the ideology about it is, when you prepare or you plan things in D&D as a dungeon master, you're planning what you can't improv. It seems like this dungeon master is very, very good in improving. Their skills are good at it. So they might not, or they probably won't need as much prep work compared to somebody else like me, where I need a lot of prep work to know exactly how these sort of things are going, so my brain doesn't just get jumbled up in all this crazy shenanigans in this ridiculous skull of mine. So again, you plan for what you kind of need to or what you can't make up. If you ever have a sort of case of scenario where it's just like, dang, I'm really terrible at coming up with names on the spot. Well, now you know that you probably need to prepare for names on the spot, or prepare for names that you can't sort of come up with on the fly. Or hey, I'm very bad at describing scenes, environments. Like, you know, if you walk into a tavern, I'm very bad at describing what the tavern kind of looks like. So hence, what I end up doing was I prepare a lot of sort of maps in our battle maps ahead of time. And all that stuff, right? I will prepare written out dialogue that I can read to the likes of the players because I'm bad at describing it myself. And this is me preparing and planning for what I can't improv, you know? It doesn't make you a lazy DM if you don't need to do any of this. It just means that, hey, I need to prepare a little bit more for certain things compared to you. And if you need to prepare more, it doesn't make you a bad DM either. It just makes you a unique, or it just makes you. It just makes you, to put it simply, right? And that's kind of my views on it. QuintCat says, that's great advice for players too. I write in advance expressions for my character or descriptions of spell effects. Yeah. I mean, and sometimes it can just be, well, depending on who you are, sometimes preparing and planning can just be fun. Like, you know, sometimes it can just be an enjoyable task to do. I actually, for one, I don't know if anybody else does this. Actually, let me know in chat because I'm curious. I, for one, decide to write out and plan how I'm going to flavor my spells ahead of time. So for example, with Rashid, I knew whenever I was going to get the mirror image spell, I knew for a fact that I was going to make it where Rashid's from different planets of Project Aurora were going to be his little mirror images, right? There were going to be different versions of himself, different echoes of a possibility of what he could have been if he was on a different planet, right? And that was just something I planned to prepare for as a player, of how I was going to explain this sort of spell or this ability. You know, does anybody else do like plan out how their spells are going to look like beforehand, like before the campaign starts or before the, you know, I am now, says Max Fish. Oh man. Creator Max says being able to improv is definitely a DM strength, but on the flip side, his players could be a bunch of fools easily riled up and excited over the most trivial things. That makes things terribly easier for a dungeon master. True, 100%. And that's one thing that I'm going to mention a little bit later down the line in the likes of the common DM misconceptions. You don't have to be the best dungeon master ever. You just gotta try to strive for making the most enjoyable D&D table together with the likes of your players at said table. You know, you just try to be the best dungeon master for your group of individuals. You ain't got to be like Matt Mercer. You ain't got to be like fucking Matt Colville or any of the great dungeon masters out there. Just be you and be the best you can possibly be, and bring what you can, or bring the best version of yourself towards the table, and hope and try to ask the players to do the same. And as long as you're having fun, good to go. Don't worry about anything else. All right,